Hello, today we'll be taking a calm and detailed look at two famous and often contrasted spirits, gin and tequila. We won't be discussing party culture, but will instead focus on their origins, production techniques, key flavor profiles, and drinking guidelines. You'll learn why gin smells like a pine forest and tequila like agave, how to choose them correctly, and which cocktails best showcase them. This information will help you navigate bars and stores, understand what you're actually drinking, and choose a drink that suits your mood and the occasion, not just stereotypes. On bar shelves, gin and tequila often stand side by side, symbolizing completely different worlds. One is born in foggy, rainy England and smells of pine forests and apothecary gardens. The other is a child of the scorching Mexican sun, with the aroma of baked agave and the desert. These two spirits have long been iconic, but they are often confused or chosen based on mere stereotypes. Many believe that tequila is made from cactus and gin is simply flavored vodka. But is this true? What is the fundamental difference between grain distillate and agave distillate? Why has gin become the basis for an entire culture of exquisite cocktails, while tequila is firmly associated with salt, lime, and fiery celebrations? In this article, we will calmly and thoroughly examine gin and tequila, from the origin of raw materials and the intricacies of production to the secrets of proper consumption. You'll learn how to read labels to make the right choice, and how to truly appreciate the character of each of these unique drinks beyond just drinking. The fundamental difference between gin and tequila lies in their very origins. These drinks are born in different climates and created from fundamentally different raw materials. Gin is, first and foremost, a grain distillate. Its base is a neutral spirit obtained by distilling the fermented mash of wheat, barley, or rye. This spirit is a blank canvas. The true soul and character of gin are born in the next stage, flavoring with botanical additives. The undisputed king of these is juniper berries, whose coniferous, resinous, and slightly bitter notes are the defining and essential core of gin. However, the bouquet is not limited to juniper. The recipe includes coriander, which imparts citrusy and spicy notes, lemon and orange zest, angelica root, almonds, cinnamon, licorice, and dozens of other herbs, roots, spices, and flowers. Each producer maintains its own secret formula and proportions, creating a unique flavor profile. Gin's history dates back to Dutch medicine, where a similar drink was used as a diuretic, but it gained its worldwide fame in England, becoming a folk drink and the basis for classic cocktails. Tequila is a distillate from a plant, not a grain. Its heart is the blue agave plant, specifically the agave tequilana Weber Azul variety. Important, agave is not a cactus, but a succulent related to asparagus and aloe. Tequila production is strictly tied to its territory. Authentic tequila can only be produced in Mexico, in the state of Jalisco, and several adjacent municipalities, protected by the Denominación de Origen designation. The heart of the plant, the piña, which resembles a giant pineapple, is used for production and matures for 7 to 12 years. The taste and character of the final drink are directly influenced by the quality, maturity, and location of the agave. The key classification of tequila at the raw material level is the percentage of agave content. The label 100% agave means the drink is made exclusively from blue agave sugars. Mixto tequilas can contain up to 49% sugars from other sources, most often cane sugar, which significantly reduces the cost of the product but typically reduces its quality and complexity of flavor. Thus, gin is the result of creatively flavoring a neutral grain spirit, while tequila is the concentrated essence of a specific plant grown in a specific land whose flavor is the taste of Mexico itself. The philosophical difference between gin and tequila, rooted in their raw materials, finds its full technological embodiment in production. Simply put, gin is a drink created primarily from the top down, from the finished purified neutral spirit to its flavoring. Tequila, on the other hand, is created from the bottom up, from a complex, indigestible raw material, inulin in agave, through its conversion to sugars, fermentation, and only then distillation. These opposing vectors form two unique technological routes. The gin-making process is divided into two major, often independent stages. The first is the production of neutral grain spirit, NGS. This is a highly purified ethanol with an ABV of approximately 96%, obtained by rectification, repeated distillation in column stills of fermented wort from wheat, barley, rye, or corn. Its goal is maximum purity and neutrality of flavor and aroma profile. It becomes the ideal medium, a blank canvas for the distiller. The second and key stage is aromatization. This is where the botanicals come into play and the chosen method determines the character of the final product. The dominant and most respected method is steam distillation. Botanicals, juniper, coriander, zest, roots are placed in a basket over boiling neutral spirit in a copper pot still. The rising alcohol vapor passes through the layer of botanicals, entraining volatile essential oils. This aromatic mixture is then condensed and collected. A less common option is direct maceration followed by distillation, where the botanicals are added directly to the spirit, left to steep for several hours to a day for extraction, and then the entire mixture is distilled. This extracts heavier and less volatile compounds, resulting in a denser and richer flavor. The result of the first distillation is called flavored distillate. Its ABV is typically 70 to 80%. It is often redistilled, removing the heads, the initial fractions with unpleasant volatile compounds, and tails, the heavier fractions with oily notes, leaving only the heart, the pure balanced core of the gin. This approach is the basis of the London Dry Gin Standard. According to EU and UK law, to bear this name, gin must be obtained exclusively by distillation of neutral spirit with natural flavors. Its ABV after distillation cannot be lower than 70%, and only water may be added after distillation. No artificial flavors, colors, or sugar, except in trace amounts not exceeding 0.1 dian per liter, are allowed. This is a legally established standard of quality. The modern cocktail revolution has given rise to the subcategory of New Western or contemporary gin. While the process may be similar to classic gin, the philosophy is different. The dominant juniper fades into the background or is balanced by other botanicals such as elderflower, pink peppercorn, tea, cucumber, and watermelon. This expands the flavor palette while maintaining the basic principle, aromatizing distilled spirits. Tequila technology is a story of overcoming natural barriers. The heart of the blue agave plant contains neither starch-like grains nor simple sugars like fruits, but inulin, a complex, non-fermentable polysaccharide. The goal of production is to break it down into simple sugars, primarily fructose, which can then be converted by yeast into alcohol. The process begins with the shimado, the hand harvesting of mature piñas. Modern standards require the agave to be at least 7 to 8 years old, but elite producers often use plants 10 to 12 years old. After the leaves are trimmed, the piñas, weighing 40 to 200 kiloliters, are heat-treated. This is the most important stage, determining the future flavor profile. There are two fundamentally different approaches. The traditional one involves slow roasting in stone ovens, hornos, over wood or gas at 60 to 85 degrees for 472 hours. Under these conditions, inulin hydrolyzes and the sugars in the piñas caramelize, forming melanoidins, compounds responsible for the flavor of roasted meat, bread, and nuts. This imparts deep, smoky, nutty, and caramelized notes to the future tequila. A modern, faster, and more controlled method involves pressure cooking in steel autoclaves at temperatures up to 120 degrees Celsius for 8 to 18 hours. This method better preserves the fresh, herbaceous, peppery, and citrusy notes of the agave itself, but produces a less complex flavor profile. Some producers combine both methods to create unique aromas. After roasting or boiling, the softened piñas are crushed to extract the sweet juice, mosto. Historically, this was done using a stone mill, tahona, turned by horses or mules, which is thought to impart oxidized and mineral notes to the drink. Today, mechanical crushing with grinders is more common. The pressed juice is pumped into stainless steel or oak fermentation tanks. Fermentation lasts from 3 to 12 days. They use either specialized cultured yeasts, which produce a predictable and pure result, or wild yeasts from the surrounding environment, which add occasional, often more complex and dirty farmhouse notes. Some producers leave some of the agave fiber, bagazo, in the juice for fermentation, which also enhances the body and herbaceous character of the drink. The resulting wash, pulque, with an ABV of 4.7%, is distilled. The law requires at least double distillation. The first distillation in copper stills or steel stills produces the ordinario spirit with an ABV of around 20 to 25%. Its flavor is still rough and rich with fusel oils. The second distillation is key to clarification and character development. Distillers carefully separate the heads, The first 5 are 10% containing acetone and methanol, the heart, the main fraction that will become tequila, and the tails, heavy, oily fractions. The heart after the second distillation is 55 to 60% ABV. The use of copper stills, in addition to clarification, contributes to a soft and rounded flavor due to chemical reactions between the alcohol and copper. After distillation comes the final stage, which is also a classification step. Blanco or silver tequilas are either immediately diluted with water to bottle strength, usually 38 to 40%, or aged for up to 60 days in neutral containers to stabilize the flavor. For the aged categories, the law is strict. Reposado, rested, is aged from 2 to 12 months. Añejo, aged from 1 to 3 years. Extra añejo, more than 3 years. Aging takes place in oak barrels, most often used American bourbon barrels. These impart familiar notes of vanilla, coconut, caramel, and oak to tequila. However, the law does not prohibit the use of new oak barrels or barrels previously used for sherry, wine, or cognac, allowing for experimentation. It is important that mixed tequila can be aged, but the 100% agave label is always a priority quality mark, indicating the purity of the raw materials. The flavor worlds of gin and tequila are separated not only by technology, but also by fundamental differences in their sensory profiles. Analyzing these profiles is key to understanding their nature and choosing the right drink for the right occasion. The flavor architecture of a quality gin resembles a complex symphony where each instrument, the botanical component, comes into play at its proper time. The foundation, the baseline, is provided by juniper. Its flavor is not simply pine needles, as is commonly oversimplified. It is more accurately described as resinous, bittersweet, and spicy, with hints of camphor and green wood. This dominant note provides the distinctiveness and skeleton of the flavor. The mid and high notes build above. Coriander brings a warm, enveloping spice with light citrus and peppery overtones, softening the bitterness of juniper. Citrus zest, lemon, orange, grapefruit, produces bright, fresh, sunny top notes, which are the first to hit the palate. The third key group is rooty and herbal tones. Angelica root, musky, earthy with a hint of celery. Orris root, violet, powdery. Wormwood and licorice. They add depth, complexity, and dryness, preventing the bouquet from becoming flat or overly fruity. Drinking gin neat, undiluted, is reserved for connoisseurs and professionals. Pure, it unfolds at a temperature of 12 to 15 degrees in a tulip-shaped glass, which allows the aroma to concentrate. Intense botanical aromas come to the fore with a strong alcoholic expression. However, gin's true purpose is to be the heart of the cocktail. In a gin and tonic, the bitter, spicy base of gin engages in a perfect dialogue with the quinine of the tonic, while carbonation and citrus, lime, lemon, grapefruit, lift and reveal all the layers of its aromas, making them accessible and refreshing. In a dry martini, gin meets vermouth. Its herbaceous dryness and complexity either contrast with the soft sweetness of vermouth in a ratio of 5:1 or more, or merge into a balanced, chilling, and intellectual drink. Even in a sweet cocktail like the Negroni, the bitter complexity of the gin counters the sweetness of the vermouth and the bitterness of the Campari, creating a perfect balance. Tequila's flavor profile is, above all, a story about the agave plant, its transformation from raw material to distillate, and its interaction with oak. Unlike gin's polyphony, here one central theme prevails, varying across different keys. Blanco Tequila Silvier Plata is the benchmark for pure, unaged agave. Its profile is bright, direct, and often aggressive. Primary botanical notes take center stage: spicy chili pepper, capsaicin, green peppercorns, freshly cut grass, aloe leaves, damp earth after rain, and lime zest. Depending on the region where the agave is grown and the roasting method, mineral nuances, flint slate, light smokiness, or conversely sweet tones of roasted vegetables, agave tastes like a cross between pumpkin and pear, may emerge. The alcohol in a good Blanco should not be hot. It carries and reveals this complex botanical bouquet. It should be served slightly chilled, 8 to 12 degrees, from a Caballito shot glass to appreciate the full power and purity of the flavor. Joven Gold Tequila is most often a Blanco tequila, colored and sweetened with caramel or aged in barrels for less than 2 months. It's of little interest to connoisseurs as the additives mask rather than reveal the agave's character. Its domain is bar cocktails. where a soft, slightly sweet alcoholic character is desired. Reposado tequila is the first step toward complexity. Aging for 2 to 12 months in oak barrels softens the Blanco's sharp edges. The vegetal aggression fades and a rounded texture emerges. The flavor becomes two-layered. The basic herbaceous, peppery agave profile is layered with subtle oak notes: vanilla, coconut, due to lactone in American oak, caramel, and brown sugar. The balance between agave and oak is the key indicator of a quality reposado. A good example should retain the recognizable voice of the plant rather than devolve into a sweet oak liqueur. Añejo and Extra. Añejo tequilas represent the pinnacle of evolution, where agave and oak enter into a complete symbiosis. Long aging, 1 to 3 years or more, radically changes the profile. Primary botanical notes recede, becoming a distant, refined background. Secondary and tertiary aromas from the wood take center stage: intense vanilla, burnt sugar, toffee, dark chocolate, coffee, spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, and dried fruits, raisins, prunes. The body of the drink becomes oily and viscous, and the taste is long and warm. This tequila is savored like cognac or fine whiskey, at room temperature from a snifter, savoring every nuance. Drinking it with lime and salt is a gastronomic crime. Thus, while gin offers a complex, multi-layered palate from the first sip, even in a cocktail, tequila offers a taste journey through time, from the youthful, bold, vegetal character of a Blanco to the deep, noble complexity of an aged añejo. The former is intellectual and constructive, the latter is emotional and evolutionary. The ways of drinking gin and tequila have evolved, influenced by their flavor profiles and histories, to form distinct cultural codes. These rituals are key to unlocking the essence of each drink. Gin drinking culture has evolved as an art of mixing. Its complex botanical character with a bitter base is ideal for whetting the appetite, making it a classic aperitif. The ultimate symbol is the gin and tonic. Its genius lies in its synergy. The bitterness of quinine in the tonic complements the juniper. The bubbles of carbon dioxide lift and reveal the full aromatic bouquet, and a wedge of citrus activates the citrus notes of the gin itself. Serving in a large highball glass with ice is not just a tradition, but a technique. The large surface area of ice properly chills the drink, preventing it from quickly becoming diluted. Savoring neat gin requires a special presentation. It's served chilled to 10-12 degrees in a short-stemmed tulip glass. This temperature dulls the alcohol's harshness but preserves the volatile aromas. Evaluation begins with the nose. First, look for top citrus and floral notes, then mid-season spicy notes, coriander, and finally base woody notes, juniper, angelica. As a cocktail base, gin is indispensable due to its structural complexity. In a dry martini, it's the star with vermouth as a subtle accompaniment. The proportions from 5:1 to 15:1 are a personal manifesto, creating an icy dry intellectual drink. In a Negroni, the bitter gin base becomes the core, balancing the sweetness of vermouth and the bitterness of Campari. Even in a simple gin Ricky, gin, soda, lime, it doesn't get lost, but rather adds character. Tequila consumption is divided into two poles, bar folkloric and refined gastronomic. The most famous, yet controversial ritual is the lick-sip bite with salt and lime. Its origins are practical and stem from the low-quality tequilas of the past. Salt stimulated salivation and blocked the bitterness receptors, causing a sharp sip to be quickly swallowed, and lime masked the lingering taste. For 100% agave tequila, especially aged tequila, this method is unacceptable as it completely destroys its flavor. The traditional way to enjoy a good young tequila, Blanco Reposado, is from a narrow, slightly chilled Cabalito shot glass. It's sipped, sometimes alternating with sangre, fresh citrus juice flavored with salt and chili, which refreshes the palate between sips. For aged tequilas, añejo, extra añejo, the ritual is similar to that of cognac. The drink is served at room temperature, 18-20 degrees, in a snifter glass to allow the complex esters and oak aromas to fully develop. The tequila is savored slowly, appreciating the evolution of the flavor. As a cocktail base, tequila is most famous for the margarita. The classic version, tequila, orange liqueur, lime juice, is built on balance. The acidity and sweetness frame, rather than mask, the tequila's character. The salt on the rim provides a tactile and gustatory counterpoint. The Paloma, tequila, grapefruit soda, lime, is more popular in Mexico, offering a refreshing bittersweet finish. The food pairings are logical. Young Blanco tequila is ideal with spicy Mexican food, tacos, ceviche, where its herbaceous spiciness cuts through fat. Reposado pairs well with smoked and grilled meats, and rich añejo makes a digestive or a perfect partner for chocolate desserts. Gin culture is built on its integration into complex yet balanced alliances, where it maintains a leading role. Tequila culture is more polarized, from energetic ritual to meditative savoring, always in dialogue with food or pure taste. Now you see that gin and tequila represent two fundamentally different paths in the world of spirits. Gin is a constructor where a neutral spirit is transformed into a complex bouquet through botanical additives. Its element is cocktail culture, where it serves as an intellectual and multifaceted foundation. Tequila is the quintessence of a single plant, whose character unfolds from its vibrant, grassy youth to its deep, oaky maturity. Its power lies in its direct emotional dialogue with the drinker. The final conclusion is pragmatic. The choice depends not on fashion, but on context. For a sophisticated evening, conversation, and complex cocktails, gin is the logical choice. For a vibrant party, exploring Mexican flavors, or savoring an evening by the fireplace, tequila is the perfect choice. The key rule for both is to carefully read the label and choose quality products, London Dry, 100% agave, as only they can fully reveal the unique story contained in each bottle.
That's all for today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. See you soon.